Well, there's never any shortage of outrageous topics to cover in the current American political circus. And with both sides selling their version of events as the facts, Americans are left making emotional decisions on some very important issues. So we find ourselves in a time where one's feelings and personal opinion and political leanings are taking precedent over the truth. It's a very interesting time. Now, I don't need to tell you how damaging that can be and will be for the future success of this nation, or rather the future successes for the people of this nation, as those in their ivory towers are seldom affected by the average man's privation. This intentional confusion and muddling of fact and opinion all stem back to one clear and dangerous fact, that the US government is currently at war with itself. Now, there are many opinions floating around out there about this topic, and many people that disagree with that statement. But I think this should show us one glaring fact over everything else, that there's no democratic process in this country, just the illusion of one, as they attempt to dismantle the very foundation of this country so as to stop their opponent. So I'd like to begin today by breaking this down, as there have been some very interesting moves by the government. Well, like for instance, we know, according to Natural News and OpenTheBooks.com, non-military groups such as the FDA, the Department of Veteran Affairs, and the Smithsonian have been acquiring body armor, riot helmets, shields, cannon launchers, and police firearms and ammunition. So the question is, what are they preparing for, and why would they need those kind of things? Or, for instance, Rex Tillerson cleaning house in the State Department, which included firing 3 brothers after the Yemen raid, which got very little coverage in the media. Their names were Abid, Amran, and Jamil Awan, if I'm saying that correctly. And as Mad News World reported, quote, the brothers were assigned access to 3 members of the intelligence panel and 5 members of the House Committee on Foreign Affairs, along with dozens of congressmen who employed the suspects on a shared basis. This gave them direct access to our military secrets, like missions carried out by Navy SEALs Team 6. Captain Joseph R. John is quoted as saying that he believes the Muslim Brotherhood, 5th column, has infiltrated the US government. So these 3 brothers were immediately removed under suspicion of basically giving away secrets, which possibly cost the life of Ryan O'Neal. And if he is correct, the Owen brothers could very well be a part of this entire infiltration we're seeing within the government. So this all ties back to the one main question. Is the government at war with itself? Tim, why don't you start?
I definitely think so. And now I know there's differing opinions on this. You know, some people will say Trump is, 100% control. This is all designed to make it look like there's some faction. But I kind of think there is. Now, I think it's important to note that Trump isn't necessarily some hero. He's not going to give us everything that, we want. He's not it's not going to be this ideal leader, but I think he's a step in the right direction potentially, and this is the reason we're seeing all this backlash. It seems not just on the right, but not just on the left, but the right as well. Everyone seems to be against him. The whole GOP seems to be against him, and it seems like there's a lot of leaks coming out. I feel like if he was 100% controlled, there wouldn't be so much need for all these leaks and pretty much trying to impeach him. They already got 1 member, and it seems that the media is really going after his core team. They're not really going after Pence much. They're not really going after Reince Priebus. There's certain people in there they're not touching so much, but like when you got the Michael Flynn, obviously we'll talk about that later. We got the, Stephen Bannon. We got Kellyanne Conway. There's another one. I can't remember his name, but it does seem like it seems like the globalists that are the deep state, this is the true deep state, want to continue this globalism agenda, and any nationalist policies to kind of bring back sovereignty and to get out of foreign affairs and to get the whole world paradigm back to more of a nationalist paradigm. That seems to be their biggest issue. And in terms of the Muslim Brotherhood, I definitely think that story is bigger than people think. When you look at the topple of Libya, the topple of Syria, that was done through the proxy of the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood, this is stemming from George Webb's research. And if you look at Huma Abedin, Hillary's top advisor, top aide, she has massive connections to Muslim Brotherhood. So this is the link there between the Muslim Brotherhood. This is the mercenary proxy army that really is ISIS. They're the recruiting ground that use Wahhabism to bring in Muslims to fight against, well, they think they're fighting against, the empire. They're trying to expand their Islamic State. So it would make sense then if they're using the Muslim Brotherhood like it seems like they are, then of course there would be people inside the government that are spies that are leaking stuff, or maybe maybe they were Clinton people who were put in certain spots, and they're the ones sending information over to the Brotherhood, because Clinton's communications are obviously heavily monitored, and so she needs people to go through. I remember someone saying that she used to send messages through her housekeeper because she didn't want to send them through her own personal communications. So I think it definitely seems like there's a lot of leaks coming out. And when you look at, I know we'll get into this later, but when you look into the Flynn case, he met with an ambassador. Look, that happens all the time. Let's not kid ourselves. This happens all the time. So why are they selectively leaking things? I saw another thing where he was he was looking at these sheets with the Japanese prime minister, and it was about the North Korean nuclear strike. And they were leaking, they're photos of that coming out. Oh, he's showing classified information. So why is there this big active campaign against every little thing that he does? Obama got a pass on everything. There was never pictures like this leaking out or anything. There was character assassinations by the right, fine. But in terms of policy and trying to undermine them, and it looks like, in my opinion, this is regime change. This is regime change happening here. It seems like, there is a faction that is really going against them. The deep state, which is colluded with the media, which is colluded with the GOP and the Democrats, that are trying to oust him and I would say do an internal coup. So it seems like that to me, unless this is just the deepest psyop I've ever seen, but I just don't see it. And I think at the same time, you got a lot of insiders in the FBI that are leaking stuff out on Trump's side to show the corruption. I mean, you got George Webb, you got other people. So very interesting time to diagnose this. Obviously, we don't have insider information, but it definitely seems like some bigger's going on than that's beyond the surface.
Yeah, just to, I guess, continue on Tim's thought. If there isn't infighting, they are certainly giving a very good image of there being infighting, and that's at this point we're outside looking in. We're trying to observe the media and figure things out from our perspective. But it sure does look like the media is giving it to Trump and company with both barrels at every occasion. Just the nitpickiest stuff. Is this all part of the show? I suppose it could be, but that's wow. That would be quite the psyop. Things that concern me are again, Trump seems to be backpedaling on relations with Russia. The State Department spokesman recently said that Trump will be expecting Russia to return Crimea to Ukraine. And that's very concerning to me, because that is a continuation of the false reality that the media has spun up around Ukraine and Russia. So what the heck is going on there? Are they trying to prep for some sort of altercation with Russia eventually? Because it seems like they're stepping back on that road. And that does worry me. So that would be, I suppose that would be another tick in the slot of, no, Trump is just part of the deep state show. So I really go back and forth, and every day you get some indications that this is a legitimate regime change against Trump. And you also get some clues that no, this is not legit. This is just trying to make us think there's infighting, and there really isn't. probably the truth is, just if I had to guess, probably the truth is that there are competing factions. There are major factions competing, and Trump is not necessarily on the side of goodness and right and everything. I would like to see more traction on the human trafficking, the Pizzagate related, which we were told to expect high-level arrests this week. Once again, I think we're told that almost every week. And David Seaman is having to backtrack a little bit. He says his inside source promised high-level arrests. I don't know if Jerry Sandusky's son counts as a high-level arrest. Maybe he does. And I think David Seaman came back and said, see, that these are some of the high-level arrests. Maybe. It's just hard to say at this point. So I'll continue to celebrate the little victories, but I'm as cynical as ever.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty clear to anybody paying attention that these facts laid out in front of us show a very clear picture of some kind of a battle going on within the government. And of course, there's always the caveat there that this is some massive manipulation and it's all some ploy, which is always possible. But that being said, with what's in front of us, which is all we have to go on, it seems pretty clear that there's something going on. And, for instance, we know Chuck Schumer had threatened Trump for criticizing the intelligence community not too long ago. And now recently, Trump just spoke out saying that intelligence communities are illegally giving information to the media. So that, assuming this stuff is true, it's clear that there's a divide there.
These are the types that like to paint me as the villain, but I'm thankful I've been given a chance to play that role for them, cause to live is to dance. And whether it's with the devil or with an angel, I seduce to put bread upon the table. Been indoctrinated, changed and intoxicated, complicated. My actions taken out and moderated, godforsaken. Thrown to the curb, not even given a chance to own what I earned. So fuck this.